Hey, it's Adrian, and today I'm really excited. I just got the 65-inch LG C1 OLED TV. Now, I know the C2 is out, but the price difference between the two TVs made this one my first choice. So I'm mostly going to be using this for gaming and content consumption, almost a 50-50 use case. Now, when I did order this, it did come with a pair of free LG Tone earbuds. So if you're going to be ordering it, just check whichever retailer you're ordering it from. Some of them are offering that, and I think that promotion is until May. But let's get started with the review. All right, so I've taken everything out of the box. So you get like an instruction sheet, manual, remote, batteries, this bottom plate here, screws, a back plate, this wire organizer, and the base alone is about 18 pounds, so it's a pretty heavy and sizable base. All right, so the first step is to secure this bottom plate with the base where this needs to fit in. So I find standing the base upright lets you slide it in so you can hear that satisfying click. Okay, so once you have this bottom plate attached, just flip the whole thing over and then you have access to these three holes here. The last step is to rotate this part and align these four holes with those holes there and secure it. And there's a little back plate here that just snaps in like that. Okay, so the TV is fully assembled. Now looking at the back, you have the RJ45 port, your digital audio out. You also have an HDMI, and that's of course 4K at 120. Two USB drives, and they look like USB 2.0, not USB 3. And on the side of the TV, you can see you have another USB in and three more 4K ports at 120. But the second port, that's the eARC port. You also have four holes here for wall mounting the TV if you want to do that. Okay, so I measured the power cable. It's about 5 feet. In terms of the look of the TV, I mean, it just looks amazing. It has a very minimalistic look. The bezels are very thin, and the only area where you see any type of LG branding is at the bottom right of the stand. So while one of the standout features of this TV is just how thin it is, you can really only get a sense of appreciation when you look at it from the side. So that measures at 3.9 millimeters, and you can really tell and feel every time you're moving this TV around. In terms of the TV specs, so it is a 4K display, 65 inches. It does have Cinema HDR, Dolby Vision, HDR10, HLG, HDR Dynamic Tone Mapping Pro, Dolby Vision IQ. Audio is a 2.2 channel, 40 watts. Mounting options, you can do it with the stand like you see here, or it's capable of being VESA mounted too. In terms of HDMI inputs, you have 4 HDMI 2.1, and they're all capable of 4K at 120p. One of the HDMI ports supports ALLM, or auto low latency mode, and eARC. If you're a gamer, this also supports variable refresh rate, NVIDIA G-Sync, and AMD FreeSync. There's also a game optimizer mode and dashboard that you can access in-game or have automatically turn on when you launch certain games. The Bluetooth version is Bluetooth 5. It does have Ethernet input for hardwiring it if you don't want to use Wi-Fi. It's hard to fault this TV when it comes to consuming content. I've been looking at Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and I'm just stunned and blown away by the picture quality. Even though some people mentioned that the peak brightness on OLEDs is not as bright, to be honest, I haven't found myself wanting more brightness. Because of that balance between perfect blacks with the contrast, whatever is white or is lit seems very well lit in contrast to the blacks. This video is a great demonstration of how amazing the contrast level is on this TV. Because it's an OLED panel and pixels can be turned completely off, anytime you see black, it's actually pitch black, and you would actually think the TV is off when the screen goes like that. But you can see here, these videos are a perfect example of how there's that amazing separation between what's in color and what's black. As well, right now, the picture mode is set to vivid, but you can see as I cycle through these, standard makes it a bit warmer, Cinema Home a bit warmer, Cinema even warmer, Game Optimizer boosts everything, and then Filmmaker makes it pretty warm again. In terms of viewing angles, you can see I can start right at the front, move all the way to the side of the TV, and I can go all the way to the back, and there's no shadow areas at all, so The viewing angles are really great on this TV. In terms of gaming performance, this TV is really awesome for that. It's like rediscovering games for the first time. The colors are super vibrant, amazing contrast, the 1 millisecond response time. It feels like you're in the game. Now, anytime you're in a game, you do have an option during the initial setup of the TV to turn on something called Game Optimizer. You can do that later anyway. But anytime you're in a game, to pull that up, you just click the gear icon on the remote, and you can see it pulls up this Game Optimizer menu. Now, depending on the type of game you're playing, you can change it from a first-person shooter to standard, real-time strategy, or RPG. So I'm just gonna leave it on standard, and you can see as I cycle through these, the black level is changing. So if you want even more fine control over that, what you could do is you could go into the Game Optimizer section right here. And once that loads up, you can see you have some options here. So you can change the black stabilizer higher, and you can see as I crank that higher, you know, it's getting rid of the dark areas or the shadows. Could be helpful for you depending on the type of game you're playing. I'm just gonna leave it to what it was standard. You also have the same thing with a white stabilizer. There is an option to reduce blue light if you're gonna be playing late at night. And I also played Battlefield 5, and I didn't notice any type of input delay. So I'm leaving it at standard. I haven't used boost, but I don't think I really need it. You also have options for the game sound, VRR, G-Sync, FreeSync, and you can also fine-tune the dark areas even more in this section here. I haven't found that I needed it, so I've mostly left it alone. And lastly, you have an option to change colors. All right, let's talk about OLED burn-in concerns. So it's obviously too early in the review for me to tell if it's gonna be an issue, but I have noticed that the TV has some settings to help with that. So if I go into settings, support, and then OLED care, there's an option here called OLED panel care. And there's an option here called pixel cleaning. And what this does is it's gonna clean the pixels once the TV is turned off. So just make sure that you leave the TV plugged into the wall for this to take effect. So don't unplug it from the wall. And if you have one of those smart plugs where you can remotely turn it off, just keep it on so this feature kicks in. The other thing that the TV has is this option called screen move. And it says it moves the screen little by little at regular intervals to prevent burn-in. So it's not something that I've noticed, even though I have it on. Maybe it's a really subtle thing, or maybe I haven't watched long enough where the TV deems that it's necessary to do that. One thing I want to mention though is I noticed if I pause a video on YouTube or something, it will kick in a screensaver that shows the time, and it tells you to press a button to get out of the screensaver. So I'm assuming that's one of the other preventive measures. Also an option called adjust low brightness. And all this is, you know, it's just gonna adjust the brightness of static elements on the screen. Say you're watching a news channel or something like that to reduce that issue. In terms of the sound quality, so I'm gonna do a demonstration between the standard sound profile and the AI Sound Pro. So if I click over here, this is what the standard sound profile sounds like. So you can see that even though I haven't changed the volume level on the TV, switching it to AI Sound Pro just gives a more fuller bass and treble heavy sound. In terms of the volume performance, it is so loud, and I don't find myself thinking that I need a soundbar. I also don't go past 10 or 15 on the volume level, but let me demo that. You can see it gets very loud. Since this is my first LG product, it's also the first time I've used this magic remote. So if you're in the same boat as me, stick around for these tips. If you already know them, you can skip ahead. So at the bottom of the remote, you have these buttons to quick launch certain apps like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney+, Google Assistant, LG Channels, and Alexa. I don't use Disney+, and I really wish this would let me program it to YouTube, but it does not. But there is a workaround. And the workaround is this. If you long press the 0 on the remote, you can see that the TV is going to pop up a quick access menu. Now, number 7 and number 8, I've already populated with the art gallery and YouTube. If I go to number 6, you can see these are the selection options. So I can program a live TV channel, LG channels, Netflix, Apple TV, Crave, TikTok, Tubi, etc. Now, if you go into apps, I'm sure you could download specific apps and then they'll pop up on here as well. So that's a pretty handy feature to have. But let me go ahead and just demo it. So right now I'm in YouTube and I'm just gonna long press 7 on the remote. And you can see that automatically brought up the gallery. Another pretty handy thing you can do with the remote is to issue commands. So if you long press on this microphone, see it lights up, increase my screen brightness. So you can see it jumped it from 70 to 80 and I can do that again. This is pretty handy. Instead of going around and clicking through the menus, you can just issue a voice command. Another tip is when you press the mute button once, it just mutes all the audio. But if you hold it down, same like some other buttons on the remote, it brings up an accessibility menu. And on this menu, you can have audio guidance. You can specify whether you want the TV to make a sound when it powers on or off. But most importantly, you have some options here for captions. So one cool thing that you should consider is downloading the LG ThinQ app. So if I launch that app, you can see that it shows my C1 there and that it is turned on. Now, if I click into that, there's a remote control. If I click on View All, I now have full access to the remote pretty much. So I can use my thumb with this area as a kind of a trackpad and you can see the arrow moving around. There's also options to adjust the volume, the channel, go to home, switch inputs, and then, every other type of setting that you would want. And as soon as I tap it, it comes up on the TV there, pretty handy. Now, while having a remote on your phone is good, I don't think that's the reason why you should download this app. And this is the reason why I think it's worth it. If you click these 3 dots up here, at the bottom it says LG ThinQ TV settings. Tap on that and make sure this bottom option is selected. Tap the remote control for quick start or magic tap, and then you can go back. Now on my phone, the NFC area is around here, and NFC is just near field communication, what you use to do tap to pay. On the remote, the NFC is at the bottom there. So if I kind of align these two together, you can see it now asks me what I would like to do. So these are my options. I can view my phone screen on the TV's larger screen. So if you wanted to show something to someone, it's just easier on the large screen. You can play sound from your phone onto the TV speakers. So if you were listening to Spotify or something and you just wanted better audio, you could just kind of cast that to the TV. You can also play photos or videos from your phone onto the TV. And you can also listen to sound from the TV on your phone. So it would just transfer the audio from the TV onto your phone. So let me demo the NFC or the tap feature. So I'm just gonna align my phone with both NFC areas, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick the option to view my phone screen on the TV's larger screen. I'm gonna click Start Now, and I'm gonna click the LG TV right here. And there you go. I now have my phone on the TV screen. Now there are some other options here. You can see you can make it smaller, larger. You can also change the position. So if you were doing something else, watching something else, playing a video game, you can still go ahead and use your phone and, kind of check the news, look for messages, have a voice chat or IM with someone, and you can have your phone right at the front there. You also have an option here to keep mobile sound on so that you can hear it through the TV, and also you can just make it full screen like that. The next feature I want to look at is one that I think is super cool, which is screen off. So if I click that, the screen just automatically shuts off, but whatever audio is playing, it just keeps playing. So the reason why I think this is so good is if you like to go to bed and you like to listen to, a 10-hour video of the sound of rain or a storm, you can go to bed with that sound playing and the screen's gonna be cut off, so it's not gonna bother your sleep. It's also handy if you like listening to podcasts or interviews, kind of content where you don't need to look at the TV, you can just shut it off and have that audio in the background. Home dashboard. So when you press the home button on the remote, you're taken to this screen here, and you can see you have some information at a glance. Now, you can also program it to show your city, the weather, and all of that, so that's pretty good. You also have an option here to search, and you have these free LG channels. Now, if you scroll down, there's also these trending topics, and you can see this is the list of apps that are preloaded on here. But you do have the option to add more apps if you'd like. So I'll go into that and you can see what they have available. So when you launch into apps, this is what you're given. So there's a featured section, entertainment, game, and you can just cycle through all of these and download whatever type of app suits you. So you can see, you know, it does come with the standard stuff like YouTube, TikTok, Amazon, Netflix, but you also have the option to go through these manually or to search for any specific type of app that you're looking for. If you plan on connecting this to your laptop or desktop, you may have better results than me. Now, I have it connected right now. You can see I'm only running an RX 570, which is a really old, really weak graphics card. It's just a laptop's graphics card. But I do have aspect ratio, preserve aspect ratio turned on, and you can see the resolution is showing 4K. However, the text is horrible. It's not smooth, it's not clean, it's not crisp. It's kind of blocky, there's artifacts to it. If I go into the Explorer and I try to play a video, for example, the video quality looks good, it's passable, but when I'm looking at any of the text like the help view, it's just not passable for me. I would say this could be used in a pinch, but it's not something that I would run as a daily driver for my computer. Now, keep in mind, again, this is a really old graphics card. It's not powerful. It's possible that obviously with something new, a 3080 Ti, a 3090 or something newer, you'll get much better results than I'm getting. So can I recommend this TV? Right now, I 100% recommend this TV. I'm blown away by the picture quality, by the gaming performance. I think the sound is great even without a soundbar. And on top of that, the fact that it's on sale right now because the C2 is out, I think this is kind of a no-brainer if you've been waiting for a TV. Now, in terms of burn-in concerns, it's way too early for me to tell, but from what I've seen online, there's people who've put thousands of hours into their TV and they're saying that they have no issues as well. And like I mentioned, in the menus, there are features on the TV to help mitigate that problem. So while filming this video, the LG C2 is currently out. I haven't seen it in person, and I know it's supposed to be rated to be about 20% brighter. It's also about half the weight of the version that I have, the 65 version of the C2, and this one, because it's a much lighter base. This base is about 18 pounds. It's pretty stable, pretty solid. But for the price that this costs, being on sale, you also get those free LG tone buds if that's your type of thing. I think you can't go wrong with this TV. I don't normally review TV, so I know this isn't a super comprehensive review. But if there's anything else that I can test or check for you, please let me know down in the comments below and I'd be happy to help out. If you found this video helpful and if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.